Once upon a time, in a cozy little burrow tucked beneath the roots of a giant oak tree, lived a curious young rabbit named Pip. Pip had soft, fluffy fur the color of dandelion fluff, and ears so long they sometimes flopped into his carrot soup. Every night, just as the moon began to peek through the leaves, a strange and wonderful thing would happen in Sunny Meadow. Tiny twinkling lights would appear, dancing and swirling in the air like 1,000 fireflies having a party. But these weren't fireflies. They were softer, gentler, and they hummed a quiet, lullaby-like tune. Pip was fascinated. The older rabbits would just twitch their noses and say, "Oh, that's just the night lights. Time for bed." But Pip's curiosity was bigger than his sleepiness. "Where do they come from?" he'd whisper to his reflection in a dewdrop. No one ever had an answer. So one evening, Pip decided he would become an investigator. He put on his bravest face, packed a single, extra juicy strawberry in a leaf pouch, and promised himself he wouldn't come back until he had solved the mystery of the nightlights. As soon as the first light appeared, shimmering like a tiny fallen star, Pip hopped out of his burrow. The air was cool and smelled of damp earth and sweet clover. The lights danced just ahead of him, leading him away from the familiar paths of the meadow and deeper into the whispering woods. The trees here were older and taller, their branches creating a canopy that made it feel like walking through a grand, leafy hall. The lights bobbed and weaved between the trunks, their gentle hum growing a little clearer. Pip's heart thumped a little faster. It wasn't scary, but it was exciting. He passed a family of sleeping squirrels curled up in a knot, and he saw a badger tidying his front step before bed. Everyone else was settling down for the night, but Pip was on an adventure. He followed the trail of lights until he came to a part of the woods he had never seen before. In the center of a small clearing was a pond, so still and clear it looked like a piece of the night sky had fallen to the ground. And the lights, they were all gathering here, hovering just above the water's surface. The humming was stronger now, a beautiful, harmonious sound that made Pip's whiskers tingle. He crept closer, hiding behind a large, mossy rock. He watched as the lights dipped down, one by one, and gently touched the water. As each light touched the surface, a tiny, glowing water lily would bloom. The entire pond began to fill with these magical, luminous flowers, turning the dark water into a breathtaking garden of light. Pip's jaw dropped. He had never seen anything so beautiful. But where were the lights coming from? He still hadn't solved the biggest part of the mystery. He scanned the clearing, and his eyes landed on a large, flat rock on the other side of the pond. Sitting on the rock was a creature Pip had only heard about in stories. It was an old turtle, with a shell that looked like a map of ancient lands, full of swirls and patterns. His skin was wrinkled and wise, and his eyes held a kind and gentle sparkle. In his slow, steady hands, he held a long, hollow reed, like a flute. As Pip watched, the old turtle took a slow, deep breath and blew gently into the reed. And from the other end came not a sound, but a bubble of light. It floated up into the air, joining the others, humming its own little note in the beautiful chorus. The turtle blew again, and another light bubble emerged, then another, and another. He was the source. He was making the nightlights. Pip was so amazed he forgot to be quiet. He let out a little gasp, and the turtle stopped playing. His wise old eyes turned towards Pip's hiding spot. Pip felt his ears turn red. He had been caught. Slowly, he hopped out from behind the rock. The turtle smiled, a slow, gentle smile. "Hello, little one," he said, his voice as calm and deep as the pond itself. "You must be very curious to have followed my lights all this way." Pip nodded, too shy to speak at first. I'm Pip," he finally managed to say. Are you making the lights?" "I am," the turtle replied. "My name is Sheldon, and every night I play my dream flute. I gather all the happy thoughts and sweet dreams from the creatures of the meadow and the woods, and I turn them into these little lights." Pip's eyes grew wide. "So? They're made of happy dreams?" "That's right," Sheldon chuckled. "Each light is a little bit of happiness. A successful nut hunt for a squirrel, a delicious clover patch for a rabbit, a warm cuddle for a little mouse. I send them out to dance across the meadow, to light up the night, and remind everyone of the good things from their day. Then, I bring them here to the Dreamer's Pond, where they bloom into lily lights, keeping the dreams safe until morning." Pip looked at the glowing pond, then back at Sheldon. It was more wonderful than anything he could have imagined. It wasn't just a mysterious occurrence. It was a nightly act of kindness. "Why do you do it?" Pip asked softly. Sheldon looked up at the moon. "Because every night should end with a little bit of magic. It helps everyone sleep peacefully, knowing the world is filled with happy moments. And it helps them wake up ready for a new day of making new happy memories." Pip understood. He thought about his own happy moments, the taste of that juicy strawberry in his pouch, the feeling of the soft moss under his paws, the thrill of his adventure. Maybe one of his own happy thoughts was now a light, blooming on the pond. He sat with Sheldon for a while longer, watching him play his dream flute and fill the air with shimmering lights. The gentle humming was the most peaceful sound in the world. Soon, Pip's eyelids began to feel heavy. The excitement of his investigation was turning into a warm, cozy sleepiness. Sheldon noticed. "It seems your adventure is coming to an end for tonight, little investigator," he said kindly. Pip yawned a big rabbit yawn. "Thank you, Sheldon," he said. "Thank you for showing me the magic." "The magic was always there," Sheldon replied. "You just had to be curious enough to find it. Now, let one of my lights guide you home. It's time for bed." One of the brightest lights detached from the dancing crowd and floated over to Pip. It bobbed in front of him, lighting the path back through the whispering woods. Pip said goodbye to Sheldon and followed the little light. It led him all the way back, past the sleeping badger and the curled-up squirrels, right to the doorstep of his own cozy burrow. As he hopped inside, the little light gave a final bright twinkle and then faded away. Pip snuggled into his soft, leafy bed. He was no longer just Pip, the curious rabbit. He was Pip, the investigator who had solved the mystery of the nightlights. He closed his eyes, and as he drifted off to sleep, he smiled. He knew that the night was filled not with mystery, but with the gentle, humming magic of happy dreams. And he couldn't wait to see what wonderful things he would dream about tonight. The end. Thank you so much for listening to our story tonight. I hope it brings you the sweetest of dreams. Don't forget to subscribe for more bedtime adventures. Good night and sleep tight.